Many seniors can't afford basic necessities, according to the Kaiser Foundation. This is an article I've been wanting to read for a couple weeks now. Jill sent it to me, and it actually ticks me off. It's such a stage. It's such manipulation. It really bothers me. So we got True Cost of Aging Index shows many seniors can't afford basic necessities. And we have this nice lady, Fran Seeley, in Portland, Maine, and you can see she has an empty crate there. She's really analyzing the cost of these. I guess they're oranges or onions or something. I can't tell what they are. Not tomatoes, probably oranges. She's really analyzing him, and this is not to bash this lady. She seems like a very nice woman, actually. I've researched a little bit to get a background of her, but I like how they stage it that is empty. You think that's deliberate? Yes, it is. It's all mind control. Anyway, so Fran Seeley doesn't see herself as living on the edge of a financial crisis, but she's uncomfortably close. Why? Well, she has $925 from Social Security. Oh, she's a retired teacher. That jumped out at me a little bit. Retired teacher. $925 from Social Security, $287 from an IRA distribution. And to make ends meet, she's taking a reverse mortgage on her Portland, Maine home that yields $400 a month. So that a couple things happening here. Reverse mortgage means she doesn't have any debt. No liability for a debt, I should say. All right. Hold on a second. Calculate her IRA. If we take basically $300 a month and divide that by 0.05 or 0.06 or 0.04, her IRA is probably $50,000 to $80,000. And she's 81 years old. Hopefully she's not following a 4% rule at 81 years old, for heaven's sake. And then, hold on a second. And so she's living tax-free. She got no income tax because all this is going to be tax-free, basically. Not basically, literally tax-free. So she has $20,000 a year of net income. All right, now she's been able to live on this income by carefully monitoring her spending and drawing on limited savings. But should her excellent health worsen or she need assistance at home, she doesn't know how she'd pay for those. So again, we're putting this picture of a lady with nothing in her shopping cart, very analyzing, because every single penny goes out the door matters. And I'm not saying it doesn't. I find this manipulation it just ticks me off. She's single. She's in good health. She has no debt. She's living on $20,000 a year. That I'm telling you, that does not mean she's one step removed from freaking living at the pauper. It's just not. I'm sorry, because she has no debt. No, All right. But they're going to make it seem like it is because she doesn't know how she'd pay for those expenses. Again, medical costs for long-term care. Well, we all have that question. How would we pay for it? How would we pay for it? Well, we don't know. That's why Medicaid is there as a safety net and should not be abused by people who can afford their own stuff, as opposed to I'm going to qualify for Medicaid by putting my assets out into a trust or giving them away. That way, 7 years from now, if I need Medicaid, I qualify. I don't like that at all. But anyway, be that as it may, that's a concern we all have. Does that make us one step removed from financial insecurity? All right. I like more than half of older women are in a similarly precarious position. What's precarious about it? That she doesn't know how she's going to pay for home assisted care? Is that precarious? I don't get it. We all don't know how we're going to pay for it. So we're all in a precarious situation? No, it's stupid. And one of the things we can look at is the actual numbers. What's the likelihood of you needing it? It's not very high. All right, according to a valuable but little known measure of the cost of living is the Elder Index. All right, so researchers at the Gerontology Institute at the University of Massachusetts at Boston. The goal is to fuel a robust dialogue about the true cost of aging in America. All right, so basically anyone who's in that area is going to say, everyone is getting broke. Oh my goodness, Social Security isn't good enough. Medicare isn't good enough. We need more government assistance. Results from the analysis are eye-opening. In 2020, according to data supplied by the director of the Gerontology Institute, we're all going to die. Give us more money so we can deal with this. It's all this is, man. The index shows that nearly 5 million women living alone, 2 million men living alone, and 2 million couples have incomes that make them economically insecure. I got income that makes me economically insecure, man. We all do. Who doesn't have income that makes them economically insecure? It's just silly. And those estimates were before inflation rose 9%. So how did inflation really affect her? Her house is paid. Her car is paid, I assume. I don't know. I mean, other than the food, but did she really have a 9% CPI? No, because the only thing that really hit her was the food stuff. Crazy. All right, let's keep going though. So here's an older person living alone without a mortgage. They have $600 a month as their monthly expenses. And that includes property tax, homeowners insurance, fuel and utilities, and all that. And I looked up this lady right here where she lived because you can find it easily. And let's just say her house is worth $400,000. Well, in Cumberland County, Maine, where she lives, she has about 1.5% property tax. I don't know if she gets a discount because she's older. I don't know. But her property tax is probably about $400 to $500 a month alone, right there. Well, that's the fault of Cumberland County, Maine, man. That's not the fault of the society as a whole. I mean, so give her reprieve once you hit a certain age and a certain income level, and they might have that in Cumberland County, Maine. I got no qualm with that. But don't blame that on society. That's because she lives in a high expensive county and city, and particularly Portland, Maine. So that seems high to me. $600 a month for the older person living alone for housing costs. I don't buy that if you don't have a mortgage. If you have a mortgage, it's literally 3 times as high. That's not good. Food is $275 a month, and people are like, how can she only pay for food? Well, she's single, man, and that's based on low cost living food index at the Elder Index. I actually like the Elder Index. I'm a big fan of it. I think this is a little bit on the high end. That's probably a little bit on the low end. That's definitely on the high end. Transportation costs of $300 a month because they're looking at the average miles that people drive, and they're assuming the average miles, the mileage rate that IRS charges per mile, and we're going to use that to your transportation. I bet she doesn't drive nearly what the extent of what this index is saying. So that's quite high. That seems low to me. Food, that seems very high. Healthcare seems about right. Medicare Part B, Part D, a supplement and or a Part C, that seems about right. Miscellaneous, yeah, it seems about right. That's other things, not just entertainment, but other things that the day to day. So that seems about right. So income needed about, probably makes sense. I'd say about $1,500 to $2,000 seems about right to me. So this seems about right, about $22,000 a year of income to make ends meet. Not living large, but you're not a pauper, and they're going to call it economically insecure. I completely disagree with that. If you have no debt, and I don't know if she has a car loan or not, my presumption is she probably does not. If you have no debt and Social Security is kicking in and Medicare is kicking in, and again, we're saying $925 a month is her Social Security. Is that net of Medicare or gross of Medicare? It doesn't really say. So let's keep going. There's a myth that Social Security and Medicare miraculously take care of all of people's needs, says someone from the National Council of Aging. The reality is they don't, and far too many people are one crisis away from economic insecurity. Organizations across the country have been using the Elder Index to convince policymakers that older adults need more assistance. That's what we need to do, provide more assistance on the Ponzi scheme that is already created called Medicare and Social Security to the elders. And maybe the more assistance is property tax relief. How about that? In New Jersey, where 54% of seniors are economically insecure. Well, isn't New Jersey run by Dems? How could that possibly be? In San Diego, another liberal city, never used to be, but it is the last, 15 years or so, 40% of seniors are economically insecure. Let's see here. Let's keep going. Maine is number 5 on the list of states ranked by the share of seniors living below the Elder Index. Again, living economically insecure. A look at her budget reveals how quickly necessary expenses pay. Medicare Part B, all right, we know that. It's about $150, $170 a month. She has $4,100 for property and stormwater taxes. I don't know what stormwater, but property taxes, $4,100. Cumberland County charges about $1.25 as property tax, and that's where she lives. So her house is worth about $400,000. All right, she has $1,440 for heat, $390 for home insurance, $125 for water, $500 for gas and electricity. Whoa, $500 for gas and electricity. $300 for property maintenance. $1,200 for food. I mean, these are not monthly, these are annual. All right, so we see all this right here. $800 for gas at current price. $800 for gas to drive? Seems pretty high to me, but whatever. $300 for car maintenance and $4,800 for food. The total is $17,000. All right, seems reasonable to me. But notice, is Social Security right there, $2,000 for Medicare Part B, and I'm sure she's either on Part C or Medicare or Medicare supplemental policy. Is that so? Anyway, long story short, she's getting $925 of Social Security, Is that net of this 2,000 a year that's coming out? I don't know. Their great luxury is caring for her 4 cats. All right. Their annual wellness checks about $400 a year, and the food costs about again, it's no big deal. But it doesn't say anything. The biggest worry I have is not being able to afford living in my home or becoming ill. Again, that does not make you financially insecure. So I want to talk about Miss Seeley here because I find this to be just manipulation of the highest extent. She seems like a very nice lady. She's very active in her community, very volunteering for immigrants that have come over. Very left wing, I might add. Turns out her husband died when she was young. Her husband had at 62, her husband died. He had owned a jewelry shop, and they moved from California to. And this is all research you can quickly find on the internet. I like to know the story because I'm very familiar with the media manipulation. She didn't just show up one day out of nowhere, and the Kaiser or Judith Graham here said, "Let me interview Fran Seeley." No, she's part of a group of elderly people who's part of these coalitions, Equity and Aging Collaborative and whatnot, and they put these stories out there to scare you to death. And that doesn't mean there's not legitimacy here. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this tried and true thing of the media. I'm telling you, if you've ever learned anything of the media, is that they manipulate to get you emotionally fearful. It's just a fact. Because if you're scared, you can be led. And they don't just take I'm telling you, that it's legion how many examples of people. I just pulled this person out of, it's kind of like the who was the chick from the Boston bombing who's big on CNN, Dr. Wen, Leanne Wen. Right here, Leanna Wen, American physician. She writes for the Washington Post and is on CNN. She's very active in Planned Parenthood. And it's very interesting, too, because there she was in the Boston Marathon bombing. Kind of strange that Leanna Wen showed up there, and now it's a big, the whole thing is just nuts. Anyway, this is what they do. So let's go back to Miss Seeley. So they moved from California after they semi-retired. Her husband had a jewelry business. And I don't know if I have no idea if they have kids. I have no idea. It doesn't look like they did because in the obituaries, it didn't say they're survived by 4 children or anything like that. Sold the house in California, moved to Portland. And I think he was originally from Connecticut. So he's from New England. To semi-retire. And then he died at 62. And I think she was a couple years younger than him. So sad. She went to work as a teacher. Retired teacher is interesting because it doesn't look like she has a pension according to the article we just saw. So retired teacher, I'm sure she just went to work as a teacher to make ends meet. But here's my question. Why only $985 of Social Security? I don't get that. Is that because the husband took it at 62? Was the husband self-employed and not paying into it? I don't know. I don't know anything on this. And he died 20 years ago. So, but the facts are there's only $985 of Social Security. Is that on her record? Did she get a spousal benefit? Did she get a survivor benefit? I have no clue. She's a retired teacher. She obviously did not work enough to make a pension. None of that. It's just odd to me, man. It's odd. They had a business that apparently was pretty successful for them to semi-retire and move from California to Maine. They had no debt on their home. They took a reverse mortgage, and it looks like in 2007 or 8, she took the reverse mortgage when the house was appraised for probably $350,000 or something like that. I don't know, but I mean it's certainly not cheap. You see what I'm saying? I mean the house that she lives in is not a single wide trailer, if that makes sense. So the point being is there is some responsibility that goes back to the person, and the person says, "Why do we only got $985 of Social Security?" Now, I can almost guarantee you that's net. That's net of after Medicare kicks in as well. And this is what they do, how they manipulate you. They say, we're going to pull this lady, Leanna Wen, just happened to be at the Boston bombing, and we're going to talk to her, and just 15 years later, she's telling everybody to get vaxxed or basically go to hell. It's very odd. Same lady. So that's kind of strange, all right? And then we're going to just pull this lady out. This is what they do all the time, the media does. And we just have Fran Seeley with an empty basket of goods, very adamantly shopping for her best deal that she can get. I'm just like, there's so much more to the story. And ideally, she's 20, I mean, not ideally. And at the end of the day, she's still got $20,000 a year of income coming in and no debt whatsoever to talk about. At least I can see. I don't know if she's got a car loan, but I know she doesn't have a mortgage because a reverse mortgage won't let you to do that. So we know she's got equity in her home, most likely, I assume, because the property values have shot up since she took the reverse mortgage out. And we know that she has a little bit of IRA money. And we know that, she has only $985 of Social Security. Why? Why is that? And why retired teacher, no pension or anything? Did she? The whole thing just is odd to me, and it's just all the way to get you scared. And the whole thing about economic insecurity is, well, what happens if? Then we're all economically insecure because we're all worried about that. Anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. All right, loved it. And it seemed like, wow, was there? Oh, I was just going to say that this lady is very active in the politics of Portland, Maine. So it's while you can't. I guess where I'm going with that is like she's very active in volunteering, being very active in politics as well. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the day-to-day living that most people have, you would never recognize that they're economically insecure unless you had academics telling you that you're economically insecure, if that makes sense. If no one told you that you're economically, it's kind of like when I was growing up, I didn't know I was poor until I went to places that weren't poor. I said, oh, I guess I'm poor. It's kind of the same thing. You don't know that you're economically insecure until someone says, hey, did you ever know that? Anyway, love your thoughts. We'll see you.